Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 91 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series. Last episode we spent a lot of time gearing up this character, and I am now a Reaper wielding a greatsword, and we are significantly more powerful than how we were before last episode. And today we are going to continue trying some stuff out and just experiencing what it is like to be a Reaper as we begin the Temple of the Forgotten God story mission, which is kind of an interesting story mission to do because a lot of it is underwater, so we'll be messing around with some underwater stuff as well. And then we'll spend a little bit more time just exploring the Straits of Devastation. But this is incredibly exciting because the Temple of the Forgotten God is the beginning of Act 8 of the Guild Wars 2 personal story, the final act of the story. So we are really beginning the final steps of our adventures into Ore, which is just an incredible feeling to be really like reaching the end of the base Guild Wars 2 experience. Really quickly, I want to come into our achievements page because I think I may have mentioned this, maybe I didn't, but they added a bunch of new titles for players who have completed certain steps of the story. So we have Warbound Legionnaire, Valiant of the Wild Hunt, Hero of Shaymore, Slayer of Issermere, and Snaf Savant, which is very, very cool. And pretty soon we will be able to unlock the Pact Commander title, but let's go ahead and put Valiant of the Wild Hunt because we are about to enter a cool location as we do the Temple of the Forgotten God storyline, where this is a very interesting concept art here of Fort Trinity, kind of an interesting take on Fort Trinity, so many spikes and like guns and stuff. But we can enter this very, very cool area of Care Avow, kind of a Savari themed area here in Fort Trinity. And there are many, many, many people here. So many pack soldiers. And we can see some pack leadership right here.
Too long, Tyria has suffered. We gather now with newfound purpose. Zaitan's servants storm our homelands. It is time to bring the battle back to Ore. This tide will wash over Ara and cleanse the dragon's corruption. Together, we will prevail. Let the ship sail. Let the troops march. And let us find victory!
A stirring speech, Traherne.
Absolutely. You've turned into a real war leader, Marshal.
Now if we can just keep the impetus you started, then we'll have a chance.
Thank you, friends. May fortune bless you. Good to see you. Let's get this briefing underway. I wanted to talk about Ton's widow, Sira. I understand she was inconsolable. Grief does terrible things to people. But this is war, and war manufactures grief. Ton joined the pact with open eyes. He chose a dangerous profession. He knew the risks and accepted them. Sira may never forgive you, or me, but in time she will see. Ton's sacrifice helped save thousands, maybe millions of lives. He chose to die a hero, and the heroes of this war will be remembered and honored forever. There's someone I'd like you to meet.
So let's go ahead and follow Traherne. He kind of dipped into the ground there for a second. And there is somebody that he wants us to meet who might be somebody that we have already met, but on a different character. As we come right over here.
Our visitor may cause alarm, so privacy is paramount. Sire, it's now safe to reveal yourself.
Greetings, Marshal Traherne. As you've requested, I've come to honor my oath.
Excellent. Let's speak with the commander and give you an assignment. Thank you for your patience, Commander. Allow me to introduce the revered Sire Al-Rashid.
In the name of the Concordat of the Tetios houses, I greet you, ally of my ally.
It's an honor, sire. I have heard that your people don't meet with land dwellers.
You speak truth. I have long owed Traherne. Now at last he has called upon me to honor my oath.
Scouts have discovered a sixth temple in Ore, a lost shrine to a fallen god, hidden underwater in the Strait of Malediction. Abaddon, the human god of secrets, was cast out of Ara by the other deities, and his name was erased from history. Very little remained. Zaitan craves something inside that temple, so we must get there first. Sire will accompany you as a guide.
Tell me, Commander, can you fight? Is your oath made of steel? You'll need all your skills to travel with me.
I've yet to meet anything I couldn't overcome.
Intriguing. I look forward to this, Commander. Until then, may your steps be relentless.
So now we can go ahead and meet Saya at the cathedral, which is very, very fun. But first, we got a letter from Keith catching up. Commander, what a shame about Demolitionist Ton. Don't lose heart. Your wild hunt and mine still have a long way to go, and I hate the thought of going on without you. I'm about to meet up with Air and possibly Zoja in yet another attempt to bridge the gap that divides us. I don't see why the others can't simply leave the past alone. Mistakes get made, people die. It's a lesson we all need to learn, and one that I hope you've already accepted. May the pale tree bless you and guide you. Keith. So now we can go ahead and leave the instance and return to the Straits of Devastation. And Care of All is an interesting location because we can just return to it outside of the story, where we have this cool concept art here that we can see, and Traherne is just hanging out here, where we got some cats over there. We see this battle plan of Ore right there. Traherne says, salutations, my apologies for being so brief. There's much that must yet be done. Here are the cats. We can go ahead and just play with them, which is fun. And a bunch of soldiers all around here. But our mission is going to take us this way, where we actually have a point of interest over here. And I think we have another area that we can explore right here. And the closest waypoint we have is Dire Shoal. So let's go ahead, just waypoint this way, and then we can go ahead and just swim right over. As I was swimming this way, I noticed that I hadn't updated my underwater skills specifically, so I went ahead and just swapped them out for these ones here, you know, similar to what we have on the land, including the flesh golem, which is kind of fun that it works underwater, and I think it's like a shark when it's underwater. But let's go ahead and swim into this very cool area before we enter the instance, and there's a ton of risen here, but we can see the Plaza of Lost Wisdom with that very cool door there. Now let's get back up here and try to sneak in into this mission, which is actually decently challenging, especially for like newer players, and I have done it recently, and oh, this is cool concept art, but I have done it recently, so I'm a little familiar with an interesting mechanic that we will be participating in here. But here's our Largos friend.
Let us discuss the temple. In the name of the Concordat, I greet you, Commander. The way ahead is dark and uncompromising.
Exactly what I'd expect from the ancient temple of a dead god.
Yes, of course. The Risen have already bypassed the wards and breached the temple. We must exterminate them. Be warned, there are dangers here not of the dragon. Powers ancient and unseen still occupy these halls. Lead, Commander. I will follow.
So we shall lead. Let's go ahead and summon our flesh golem, kind of a flesh shark. Classic looking risen shark there. Very kind of intimidating looking, and this would be horrifying to have swimming after you. But let's go ahead, swim up here, and this is a decently confusing area to navigate,
Raise your weapon and fight.
which is fun in its own right. And we're going to want to come this way. So let's go ahead and use our spear that we have upgraded now to level 80 exotic spear. And then we also have our trident, which is upgraded as well. And then we do have a Reaper's Shroud, which we can use underwater, but I think it's definitely going to be a little bit different compared to on land. But as we swim into here, we have this like golden orb thing right here, which looks very, very cool. And we're fighting something over here. An Orion crab. Let's go ahead and deal with this really quickly. I completely missed that. A relatively easy thing to kill.
It may slow us down.
And the defenses are going to slow us down.
We can do the same.
So let's go ahead and clear the trash out. We got a risen shark that is now chasing after us and is not allied with us. Let's go ahead and throw down a well, and we feel so much better now underwater. We've got this temple orb that we can examine, and the inscription says, only those who have completed the test may proceed. Place the proof of your victory here and enter. a risen sea turtle, which is actually so sad. This is so sad. Let's swim this way. A risen sea scorpion, and we can see a very interesting thing here of an Abaddon shrine. Abaddon being the disgraced human god. But we can interact with this shrine and activate the switch where a devoted of the deeps, an acolyte of Abaddon, just appeared, bows to us, and now we can fight. So pretty basic like veteran enemy that we can go ahead and just DPS down. You are all weaklings. We can scream out, and we can also say your soul is mine. I kind of just like the idea that you just shout those out at enemies as you're fighting. But as we defeat the devoted of the deeps, we see here she bows once again. And at this little obelisk and illusory essence, I just tried to pronounce that and it was horrible, so I cut that out. But we can go ahead and bring this out to this temple orb that we saw. And let's go ahead, place this here.
Look, the currents shift. The ocean's flow changes. These shrines and orbs must be how we gain entry.
And now a new area has opened up. So let's go ahead and swim back out this way, the main way we came into. And then I think it was up here, right? We now have this door that has opened up with some risen coming through here. I find this area really, really fun, but it can definitely be frustrating if you are like newer to the game and you don't fully understand everything that you're supposed to be doing here, especially since it's kind of like a very like big puzzle based area. But another temple orb, and there are some risen mines that we can try to deal with from range. You can see so many like outcroppings in this building, and it's just like a very uniquely designed building that is fun. I love like the orbs and stuff. Let's go ahead and deal with these risen, and we can examine the Abaddon shrine and activate the switch, because we do have to wait for the little bit of roleplay to happen, because we're going to have the devoted of illusions here now who's going to attack us. Let's go ahead and come into shroud form, and it's going to be, I guess, pretty much the same as on land. And we are just so powerful. And I guess really quickly I should come into our mastery track here, and let's train the Pact Commander, where we now have the supply line management, and we can go ahead and begin progressing this one, which we need 3 and a bit million experience in order to max this one out. And we currently have 11 points, and we need 13 in order to finish this track, but we will definitely get many more in the future, especially since we still need to do all of these ones over here. But let's go ahead and bring the essence to the temple orb. One less barrier, and let's go ahead and continue out this way. I do like to just clear enemies when I'm just casually playing through like story missions and whatnot. My flesh golem is off on its own adventure, and it just phased through the wall there. And oh, there's like a risen shark up here. Let's just try to finish the shark really quickly. There we go. And now we can swim this way. A nice abundance of sea life down here. And I think we want to come out into this chamber, and then I think it's up here, if I recall correctly, where yes, we see some of the creatures coming out this way, kind of guiding us in this direction. And a few more just appeared right here. The sea scorpion is very creepy looking, but this is such a fun aesthetic as we just swim through this tunnel here, and we can see land. So we have now come to like an area of the temple that is not sunken beneath the waves, and now the squire is just going to CCS. But now we can go ahead and use our great sword as I shift in my chair, and we can just deal a ton of damage with all of our on land abilities that we have. And I really enjoy Necromancer Great Sword a lot. It's just super fun. But we have an Abaddon shrine here that we can go ahead and activate, And we can see the temple orb all the way over there in the distance. And we have a devoted of nightmares right here that we can go ahead and fight. Throw down all our wills. It's nice, our flesh golem just transformed into like an all-man flesh golem as we came to the surface. That's very, very nice. And bring it this way, where we do have some abilities with it if you want to use them, but I think I'm just going to try to run past everyone, throw this in the orb, and that's going to open that door there. Just try to clear out this group really quickly. So powerful. I'm just going to say this so many times. I love the Necromancer Reaper Elite Specialization and the Necromancer Greatsword. You can see some of the like watery areas that we were at earlier. We need to be careful about this rot mouth sucker because he could have pulled us into the water there, kind of. Obliterate these undead, and then I think we want to come up this way now, where we have two Abaddon shrines. Let's just activate both of them. This one right here is going to attack us first, and we can try to like pull him this way, so then we can go ahead and DPS both of them down at the same time. There's so many effects on my screen right now from so many different abilities. And just obliterate the Devoted of Secrets. And then the Devoted of Lies goes that way. Let's bring this to this temple orb right here. Or is it to the other one actually? Or did I did not pick up the essence. I don't know what I picked up there actually. Might have been like a piece of core or something. Let's place that. There we go. You need the right thing in order to place it. And place the second one.
Be cautious.
And we are getting close to the altar. So let's run up this way. Another orange chest that probably just has a weapon in it.
Something's wrong. We must be swift.
Let's be swift, run up this way. And we can see right there is a statue of Abaddon. A really, really, really cool statue of Abaddon. That's so cool.
In truth, you trespass on the dragon's lands. You too will serve Zaitan.
No, slave creature. We serve our oaths, and those oaths demand your death.
So be it. To death and beyond.
Zaitan demands your death.
This is so cool. So we just saw two creatures that were here with the Risen General, and they just teleported away, and they are threats that we're going to have to deal with in the future. But right now we have this Risen General who ultimately might be no match for us. And we are just, let's take a quick second. We're just in such a cool area, and we can see this dome right here, and then the statue of Abaddon we can see better as it descends down into the waters there. It's kind of coming up and like leaning and kind of like looking out over us, and it's kind of like ruined by like having been sunken beneath the waves and whatnot. So cool. But the Risen General, let's go ahead turn our attention back to him and just obliterate him.
The dragon roars in fear. These ancient foundations will not withstand the sound. Escape quickly before we are buried forever.
So now we got to escape quickly before the cathedral collapses, so we can just jump straight down to here, and we're back in the waters where we started, and we need to come out towards the entrance very, very quickly. So let's go ahead and just swim over here. Saya is with us, and then we can speak with her.
Well fought and well won. Most impressive, my ally.
It was victory, but we still lost the artifact.
True, but we've made a dragon no fear. That, Commander, is a victory to relish.
Maybe we can still salvage this. What do you know about that creature we faced?
I do not know for certain. What is certain is that you've just encountered two of Zaitan's most powerful servants. and that they escaped your grasp.
Not for long. I'm reporting to Traherne right away. We'll see if we can't organize a pursuit.
I will also carry this news when I return to be freed from my oath. May your steps be relentless, Hunter.
So let's return to Fort Trinity once again. I'm just going to use the map here. We can teleport straight this way. Saya did say, "Be relentless, Commander. I shall carry word to Traherne." And we can return to Caraval once again, where of course Fort Trinity as a whole is our major staging ground into Ore, so we will be returning here multiple times across Act 8 of the story. And as we load in, all of the characters just load in one at a time.
But I must speak with the commander. I shall send for the rest of you soon.
So, Traherne says Saya has already reported in. I'd like to hear your account, however. And we can say we came up short, but we saw 2 remarkable creatures. He says, yes, an eye and a mouth. The eye concerns me more. It always precedes an attack by Zaitan's horde, so it must become our new priority. We can say agreed. How do we go about finding and killing it? Traherne says, I have 2 possible avenues. Either we lure the eye in with irresistible bait, or we comb its territory until we find it. Either way, once we locate it, we destroy it. So we have our first option or choice for Act 8 of the story, where we can ask about the ambush or the direct attack. And I'm thinking the ambush, where we can explore both of these stories. But Traherne says we have an enchanted Orion mirror that should draw the eye's attention. When it appears, we confront it and kill it. That sounds promising. I'll do it. He says, very good. I'll put together a squad and meet you at Blighted Battleground. I've got some special allies waiting to join us. I'll see you all there. And that is the end of the first mission in Act 8, or Chapter 8. Have I been saying Act 8? I meant Chapter 8, the end of Act 3 of the personal story, where we can go ahead and do Through the Looking Glass, and we can look at the other option as well next episode, where I just want to do the one story mission this episode as we continue out into the Straits of Devastation, because there is a lot for us to explore. Like a lot. And I think I want to start by coming back up to here, because we have this like northern edge of the map that we have not yet explored. And when we look at the Straits of Devastation, we actually have like the 3 lanes coming into Ore, and in each lane is a mini dungeon or a jumping puzzle, where there are 2 mini dungeons and 1 jumping puzzle that we can explore, plus like a bunch of other stuff all around here. Or let's go ahead and just work our way north to south, and I'll just do how much we can for a decent length of an episode. But we can see right in front of us is a massive sunken boat that's just incredible to look at. But this area serves as a mini dungeon, where I think as we swim into this place, there's also going to be like a point of interest for us, and we do need to be a little careful while we are here, because there are so many different creatures that are going to be threatening to us. And let's try to just maybe swim past the first group here, so we can come around this corner here. And I just love swimming through here. And if you have like issues with like vertigo and whatnot, this might be a little bit of a problematic area for you, so just be careful with that. But I just love how like the boat is sunken, and then like we're swimming through it upright, so then our camera just feels super weird, and it's just like kind of an uncomfortable feeling area to be in, especially since it is swarming with the undead. Veteran here that we can deal with, but ultimately it's just super easy now. I want to say it again, it feels nice to be a Reaper, though I am excited to explore some other stuff, but just playing as a Reaper is so fun. This makes me want to play my like main Necromancers on my main account more, since I haven't done it too often. This Risen Pirate is just having a time right here. Try to kill him. There we go. Now we can swim down this way. There's like a little room right here. I don't think this leads to anywhere specifically. Oh, I guess we can come through this way as an option. But let's swim down here. Another Risen Pirate. And I do just love like the themes and vibes of this area because it's so unique. But another funny thing is that this is not the only sunken or destroyed ship that we will be exploring in Ore as a part of a mini dungeon, and I'm going to die. So, oh, there's the rot mouth right there. Let's come back this way and let's try to bandage ourselves back to health. Except it got interrupted, which is inconvenient for us. There we go. We can get back up. Swim back down here. This rot mouth just deals a lot of damage, I guess. Let's try to heal up a little bit. We do have a massive health pool because of the armor that we have picked. There's a rich mithril vein there that we can harvest if we wanted, but I don't think I want to. I'm just going to swim over here really quickly. Let's fight these two pirates. Come into this room, which is the final room. And I guess there is no point of interest here. I thought there might have been. Let's try to heal up, come into Shroud, and just AoE everybody down. And then you can see right over here is a grand chest. And we have the Ship of Sorrows. And this Risen Rotmouth is just really ruining my day right here. Let's go ahead and deal with this. Which Ship of Sorrows is really fun because we have the Sea of Sorrows, which is the major like sea that is basically surrounded by like all of Tyria, and it goes out into the unending ocean, and is also the name of the third Guild Wars novel, which is very cool. A pretty important area for the storyline here that we have going on in 2012 Guild Wars 2, with Zaitan's ships constantly being in the Sea of Sorrows. But we get 10 achievement points there, and I think that is everything right there. I don't think there's anything up here. So let's come back to Fort Trinity, and we can start exploring the central approach into Ore now. There is currently an undead bone ship just hanging out here. So let's go ahead and avoid that. Where there is a hero challenge down here, a waypoint, 2 points of interest, and a vista. So let's come collect this, and then we can explore the second mini dungeon, where there is yet another sunken ship here. And that is a big theme across all of Ore because it is a graveyard for sunken boats. So there are a lot of like risen pirates and sailors and whatnot. A veteran risen preserver at the sunken ship hero challenge. You can see a very cool tower off in the distance there with that undead dragon fighting the airships there. Let's come up here and deal with the preserver really quickly. I think we could just throw everything we have at him because it's the only thing here, and our abilities will recharge, of course, after 20 seconds. Stab him, and then we can see that the sunken ship has been gathering barnacles on the seafloor for countless years. Many secrets sink with it, only traces of memories remain, giving the wreck a faint, mystical aura. And there was a risen megalodon swimming around. Very intimidating. But that is our 10th of 12 hero challenges. Get a nice view of the boat here. I kind of just like fell into the boat. But the waypoint is right over here. And I think this is a nice waypoint because it never gets contested to my knowledge. So if you're trying to get to like this area or this area over here, or even like these areas over here, this is like the closest waypoint for you. This one is also uncontested, but I think it sometimes becomes contested. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, let's go ahead, grab this. And then we have a point of interest right over here to the west. This is the Vesper Bell waypoint. We have these like Orion ruins right here that are incredibly interesting looking. And so many risen quaggons, which is sad. And a bunch of risen mines. And we have the Vesper Bell, which let's type /wiki the Vesper Bell. We can see if there's any like fun information about this area. It's just an underwater Orion ruin swarming with risen, so nothing too interesting going on. But it seems like it might be like somewhere that's like incredibly special for like something related to Orion culture. But over here we have some crate deeps, where since we are in Ore, there are going to be a lot of risen crate up here. And it's kind of a smaller deeps, and it looks like there's not really any risen up here right now. I guess maybe because the events aren't going on. So let's go ahead, just run this way, get up here very easily and very quickly, and we can take a look at this vista. And then underneath us is the point of interest. So let's dive into these waters. These are probably not waters that we would want to dive into, but there is the Stygian deeps. And now, right over here, I believe, is the entrance to the next mini dungeon, where we can see one character right here, Explorer Camellia. And this mini dungeon is probably one of the least popular mini dungeons in Guild Wars 2, so we have an interesting experience ahead of us. You can chat with her, and she says Scholar Fricks has gone and locked himself behind his shield again. I can't get to him. Scholar Fricks, who's he? He's one of the Priory's top researchers into the Risen and Ore. He's studying the bones of some creature. He says it's important, but I don't really see the point. Fricks installed a secure field to keep Risen from interrupting his research. There are 6 panels to shut down, but you have to avoid the hands and fish or the panels will kick you out. I keep failing. The fish are like floating mines, and the hands fling corruption at you. If you get too close to either, they'll contaminate you, and the panels will detect it. And once all 6 are shut down, I can get through. That should shut the field down and allow you to get through. If you do get hit by the corruption, I can clean it off. So we basically have kind of an obstacle course here, where there are a bunch of things we need to avoid getting hit by, and if we do get hit by it, we have to come back to the start. And we have to activate 6 different panels all around here, so we basically have to activate the panels without getting hit. But if you do get hit, we just come here to wash it off, and fortunately for us, the panels do not reset, at least not for like quite some time. So if we like activate 5 and then we get hit, we can come back here and get cleansed, and then we can go ahead and go and get the 6th one to finish this area up. And it's kind of just like an awkward and uncomfortable area to explore, as we're about to see, and it's kind of annoying because it's hard to tell if you're like too close to like the Risen hand or the fish, and you might just randomly get hit even though you don't feel like you will. And the 6 things are kind of hidden, so let's be on the lookout for them. And I kind of remember where some of them are, and there's one data pad over there. I think there's like one that's going to be up here. Okay, there's one here. Let's activate this. I almost got hit there, I think. I'm pretty sure there's like one that's up here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Oh, there's a hand there flinging stuff. Let's see. Maybe we just continue forward. So there's the one there. Come this way. We have to avoid these hands. Let's interact with this very quickly. And we just got hit. So, oh, there must be like one up there. Hold on, let's take a second. We are contaminated. But if we come up here really quickly. Oh, is this one? I see. Okay, so there's one right there that I was trying to remember. So let's try to get that one next. We've currently gotten 2 of the data pads. Oh, I see right there. One there and then one over there. But we do have to come all the way back to the entrance. And since we were attacked, we are like in combat and have like the lower movement speed. So let's take this corruption off. And let's come back this way, and let's beeline for that data pad that we see up here. Where, let's just try to avoid everything. Get up. Oh, no, 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 no. I almost got hit. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, deactivated that one. And then I think there's one right around here. Yes, there is. Oh, I got contaminated. Okay. Back this way. I think there's one there, and then one there, and then one right at the end. So we're halfway through. Let's clean this corruption off, and let's try again. I feel like this is going to take us a few more tries. And I'm not sure what the best way to get through. Oh, I got contaminated. I think we could maybe just wait 10 minutes at like the control panel, but I feel like that's not something we should be trying to do. And maybe the data pads reset in that time. Let's come up here. This might be a somewhat safe location. Just swim all the way here. And then we gotta avoid that risen hand. And then if we sneak here, we can come above the data pad. And if we stay very close, let's interact with that. And we got that. And then let's just come back in the way we came. And then around here, we need to be very, very careful. Oh, there's a risen hand. Please don't fling it at me. Okay. I think we're good. This one I always find tricky. And I think if we come like right here, and just come down here. Okay, we can deactivate that. And then sneak our way out there. And then we need to go this way. I think we're very close to getting hit by something there. And then if you just sneak down here and be very, very quick, deactivate that. And that should have been all of them, but it's not. Did I miss one? Let's come back this way. Okay, I deactivated that. Over here, there's this Surin data pad. Maybe I like misclicked one of them. Okay, there's this one. Acknowledge powering down. Maybe I got hit by the poison there and I didn't click it in time. Let's come double check over here really quickly because I'm pretty sure I just hit it. Let's see around here. Nope, the force field is still up. Okay. So that data pad is deactivated. This one's deactivated. What about the one that's up here? Okay, that one's not deactivated. The first one that we got to. Maybe I got hit by one of the hands as I came in here for the first time and I didn't even realize. Let's clean this up and then let's go ahead, just sneak this way, try to avoid everything, so up and down. There we go, power that down. Okay. What about the one up here? There's one up here, right? Or am I missing it again? Oh no, where's the one up here? Okay, we deactivated off 6 of them. So very quickly, let's try to swim through here and get into here before one of them reactivate. And there we go, the long way around where we have Scholar Fricks right here. Hey, how did you get in here? You didn't shut down my field, did you? Without that, Risen could wander in here and tear me to bits. That field was specially designed by me, of course, to keep out Risen. They are an unwanted distraction, to say the least. I need to conduct my research in peace. I'm examining the bones of these long-dead creatures for a clue to the nature of Zaitan's power. I was on the cusp of a breakthrough until you arrived and interrupted me. I wasn't in any danger until you shut it down. However, I ingeniously built in an automatic restart. The field will go back up soon. If it goes back up, how do I leave? Haha, you didn't consider that when you came in, did you? Well, I did. You can exit using a variation of a surrogate technology. Simply touch the field. I was trying to help you out. You help me? That's preposterous. I am the only one qualified for this work. Now be off and let me focus. Fine, fine. Let's go ahead, open this grand chest. And then there is a rich mithril vein right there. But the thing that I care most about is the long way around achievement. So we have completed another achievement and another mini dungeon, which is the second of 3 that I was talking about. So let's go ahead and come start exploring this southern area here, which we have not been to at all. This is the area that we came to at the end of our chapter 7 story mission on this character. And this is the ground assault into Ore, where we have Compass Bridge here and Shark's Teeth Archipelago, where there is an area right over here that we can explore actually. So let's just swim out here for a quick moment because it's a really, really fun area just because of the name, but I don't think there's really anything here. But we have the Sea of Elone, which is super, super cool, where we can see, if we zoom out a little bit, we have the Elone River that comes in from Elona with Vabi, Kerba, Istan, the Desolation, and then the Crystal Desert over here. And this is just a really, really cool area. And this is kind of like the closest that we get to Elona. I guess we have like over here as well, but such a cool little detail where we have the Sea of Elone here. Let's go ahead, swim back this way where we have this island and just a ton of a risen compass bridge. Very fun. Very cool looking bridge, of course. Let's try to mount up onto our raptor because I think we are coming into packed or into risen territory, except it's actually packed territory. So we have a little bit of a safe spot right here at Izal Den Surari, if that is how you pronounce that. Probably not at all. And then we have a vista up here that we can try to climb up to and take a look at. A very cool shot. And if you look at our map here, we do have a waypoint and a point of interest down there that we can get, but we also have the next island that we can explore. So let's begin heading this way first. And I might go into Ore proper for a split second and then come back to this island because it's very, very cool looking. And we can see that tower that we saw earlier. And this is an incredibly important tower because as we come over here, we can see one, we got dismounted because this area is a jumping puzzle. And as we get the point of interest, and we can see this cool little gate here, it is the Vizier's Tower of Vizier Kilbron, the Orion wizard who sunk Ore beneath the waves in order to prevent the Char from laying siege to Ore, and is also the individual who is the main boss of the Prophecies campaign in the original Guild Wars. So basically the first final boss of any like main storyline in the Guild Wars franchise. So kind of just like a very cool thing there. But right here is a waypoint that we can go ahead and grab, a lone post waypoint. And we can sneak into here of a lone post, and we have the Blighted Battleground, which is the area that we do want to come to for the story. But that's going to be for next episode because I want to go ahead and finish this episode by exploring this area right over here where there's a player up here, and we can find the entrance to this jumping puzzle located right here. And this is a pretty easy jumping puzzle to cheat with like mounts and gliding and stuff, and you can kind of just like skip to the end, but do this the old natural way, especially since we don't really have access to many mounts or gliding right now. We do have some diving goggles there, so I need to remember to pick up those diving goggles and see if I can remember how to get up here. I think we want to start this way. Then we can jump over here and then onto here, loop up the mountain. Almost fell there. Something we could consider on this build is to get some more swiftness because we really only have one movement ability and it's not really beneficial for like jumping puzzles specifically. But I don't think anything. Oh wait, that's right, I have a warhorn. I already took that into consideration. I completely forgot that I had axe and warhorn equipped. Let's jump up here, and then the final jump, pretty easy jumping puzzle of the Vizier's Tower, where we have so much stuff here that we can explore. Although damaged from his time under the ocean, this tower remains as a giant testament of Orion construction, where Orion architecture is definitely very, very cool. A mural of Abaddon here. The mural of the forgotten god Abaddon is weathered with age and marred by water damage, but his eyes seem to glitter with icy cunning, and his countenance is still suffocatingly imposing. An inscription reads, "Act with magic, act within reason, act without mercy." And we have this book here. Though dusty and clearly abandoned, this book is in remarkable condition. The title reads, "The Vizier of the Tower, Benevolence or Madness." Scrawled inside the cover is property of Mullen, esteemed explorer. The Vizier's decision to read from the lost scrolls to defeat the invading Char has been seen as noble by some and deranged by others. Many scholars claim that a Char victory in Ore would have been preferable to the nation's complete destruction. Others argue that, under the circumstances, the Vizier could have made no other decision, and that the outcome of the spell could not have been foreseen. The author believes that the Vizier, though powerful and at times wise, was clearly insane. The Vizier's Tower stands in the dark belly of recently risen Ore, and few have made it far enough south to examine its mysteries. Or is clogged with undead monstrosities, any trek into that territory would be suicide. And we get a hero point there, where we have this Orient vase. We have a book that we can read. Here, Orient vase. This vase was likely once a statement of taste and wealth, but now it's crusted with the dirt and grime of passing centuries. The symbols on the vase are barely legible and seem to represent a lengthy speech of some sort. The vase is too damaged for the speech itself to be deciphered, even by the most knowledgeable of scholars. This book is not as old as the relics that surround it. Many of the pages have been torn out, and the title reads Logs of the Orient Expedition by Mullen, esteemed explorer. I've arrived at the Vizier's tower through great peril. My health declines, and my mental state has been compromised by the horrors I've witnessed. I've begun to accept that I will not survive a return journey. I see only these awful statues, and I'm not sure what I had hoped to find. Some shred of information on the terrible Mersat, perhaps, or maybe a glimpse into the life of the Vizier who wrought such destruction upon Or. All I've learned is that Or is lost to us forever. I don't believe this land will ever heal. I will leave my notes here for someone else to find. I do not expect the Risen will allow me to leave. And this concept of having Or heal is incredibly interesting and might be a challenge for us in the future. But this broken Mersat statue, this crumbling statue, is too decayed to truly portray the elegance and horror of the being it represents. Some of the scars in the stone look to have been made by a blade rather than eroded by time, as though someone in the throes of anger struck it with a sword. Kind of a closer look there. Very interesting. And we have the Orient chest that we already looked at, and then this vista. An incredible shot there, and we are now 85% complete with the Straits of Devastation. Let's go ahead, try to climb back down here. I feel like I almost died, but if you jump this way, we can go ahead and get over to these diving goggles that I saw earlier. There is an event going on over here, but let's just complete these diving goggles really quickly as we dive into the water. And then I believe it's simply a point of interest and a waypoint for us over here. So let's go ahead and grab them. First things first is this waypoint in the center. And I'm just going to, I tried to like leap forward a little bit. Or I guess we could just kill these Risen because it's very, very easy to do. Let's swim up this way. The chill is very, very annoying. And I just got chilled again. I feel like this is so much slower than it's supposed to be. There we go. Let's get into here. And the Broken Spit point of interest. And then right over here, Broken Spit waypoint. And let's go ahead and swim over this way just to get to a safe spot, because we're now 88% complete with the Straits of Devastation. Not too many more areas left to explore, but that will be something for the future. Alright, let's go ahead and waypoint back to Fort Trinity so we can be at a safer spot. And I'm going to go ahead and call it good here for this episode. Our next episode, we can continue the personal story and we can explore some other stuff around Or. But I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the Road of Tyria. Goodbye.